Now this is what I call proper, wholesome, cold weather comfort food. I actually hate red wine. So I was planning on training this week, but a few things have come up which have meant that I've had to delay my start of my new block of training, and I will talk through why that is and why I think I'm actually going to struggle with this block of training in particular. So I thought in the meantime, because I'm not going to be training this week, I will take you through a full day of eating and show you what I'm kind of eating at the moment, kind of to prepare me for the next block of training, because while I was on a holiday I did absolutely indulge and I do need to bring my weight back down again. But that being said, I'm kind of changing my tactics on how I'm planning on losing weight. I've always done intermittent fasting because I don't like eating breakfast, weirdly. I'm just one of those weirdos that don't like breakfast. So I normally have my first meal at around 1 o'clock and then my last meal around 9, 10 o'clock at night. So I have that sort of 8-hour window of eating. But today I just so happened to have started this meal at 3 o'clock in the afternoon. So I've only got around a 6-hour window to eat. And I think that kind of benefits me because I can get all of my calories into a shorter window, and it means that I can have much bigger meals, which I prefer. I'm not one of these people that likes to have small meals here and there. I like to just have big meals, feel nice and full up. And it means I can have 2 or 3 meals today in the space of 2 to 3 hours and get all of my calories in. So I think this meal comes in at around 1,500 calories potentially. I need to check them, but I'll put the calories there. Plenty of protein, plenty of carbs and fats. So it's just beef with tagliatelle, a little bit of veg, some cheese and plenty of oil. So lots and lots of calories. So I'm just going to smash this for the first meal, and then I'll talk you through exactly why I'm having to delay my training and why I think it's going to be a tough training block. Oh my god. Taste test. Oh, that is rich. Whew. The flavours. So, why am I delaying my training for a week, and why do I think I'm going to struggle with this next block of training? So first of all, why am I delaying my training? It's because of my foot. So if you watch my previous video when I was in St. Ives, I was complaining of foot pain. That progressively got worse since I came back from holiday, so much so that on Monday I had to go into the minor injury unit and basically get it x-rayed because they were worried that it might be a fracture just from the symptoms that I was displaying. Luckily, when that came back, they ruled out a fracture, which meant that it's most likely a ligamentous injury or an MSK injury. They also ruled out gout, which is good because I've suffered with that before and I really didn't want that to come back. So luckily it wasn't gout. So it's most likely an MSK injury or musculoskeletal injury, which with the limited knowledge that I have in MSK, since I'm studying to be a physiotherapist, I know that was probably the better outcome, and it just requires a little bit of rest and just sort of taking the weight off the foot and just allow the natural healing process to take place. But that obviously means that I can't train this week because squatting and deadlifting would not be ideal. Putting that much weight through my foot and also the amount of stability that's needed for those movements would just require a lot of recruitment of the muscles in my foot. So that is the reason why I'm not training this week. So another reason why I've had to delay my training, and it also ties into why I think I'm going to struggle a little bit with this block of training, is because I've just started my first placement with university. So obviously as a physio student, you need to go on placements with different teams across the NHS and private, just to build up your experience and sort of learn with a hands-on approach. So naturally on Monday, even though I had to go to the minor injury unit, so it really wasn't ideal timing, I had my first day, and naturally you're just absorbing so much information that is a little bit stressful and quite mentally draining, and I'm expecting that to be the case for the next 5 weeks, where I'm really trying to learn as much as I possibly can. But that does mean that other aspects of my life do need to sort of take a little bit of a backseat, training and potentially YouTube being one of those things. It doesn't mean that I'm going to stop training, but it does mean that I'm going to potentially have to reduce the amount of time that I spend in the gym, because the hours that I'm actually going to be doing on this placement are longer than I'm used to in work as well. So I'm going to be doing 8 o'clock in the morning till 6 o'clock at night, with 1 day rest in the week. But that day will be used to do an essay for uni, which I've got due in December as well. So there's a lot of like stresses naturally that are going on. I mean, this is just normal life for a lot of people, but naturally when there's a little bit of a change, sometimes that stress can be a little bit too much and you have to really start prioritizing your sort of time better. And I think, thinking about it really, I think I have to sort of prioritize my career more than I do the gym, really, because at the end of the day, the gym is more of a recreational hobby, although it's really important to me, and I am going to continue to do it. My career really is quite important, obviously. So that's the reason really why I think I'm going to struggle with the block of training, and that is just stress. But to throw on top of that, I'm also going to be doing the videography for the GPT in a couple of weeks, so that's going to take up a whole weekend, and then it's potentially going to take up a couple of weeks in terms of evenings editing and sending all of that footage over to the people that have competed. So I'm basically going to have no real time to train, because I'm just going to be doing all of this other stuff. And don't get me wrong, this is all really exciting because it's stuff that means that I'm progressing and doing things that I really want to do, but it's all just managing it and juggling it and prioritizing it a little bit. So I think for the first 4 or 5 weeks it's going to be tough, but hopefully once I've finished my placement and then obviously done the videography and that sort of stuff, then things will start to go back to normal, and then we can start focusing on that 700 kilos again. So that kind of brings me on to the next part that I want to talk about, and that is my goals and aspirations for this upcoming year. What I want to achieve in powerlifting now that I've competed again. What are my goals going into the sort of next year and the competitions that I'm going to be looking at doing. So let's go and have another meal, because I'm already starting to feel hungry again, and then we'll talk about my goals. Second big meal of the day, chicken on top of Spanish smoky rice with grains, and I've incorporated onions, peppers and bacon into that, and I've added a secret ingredient which is mushroom ketchup, which is unbelievable. It tastes a little bit like a Worcestershire sauce, a kind of molasses taste, and just adding it into this just makes it amazing. So yeah, the calories for this meal are there, and my overall calories for the day are there. I'm aiming at the moment to be hitting around 2,500 calories, which is quite low, but seeing as I'm not really training and not really doing much exercise, I'm not really expending that many calories. So that is a deficit for me, but it's not a very aggressive deficit, because although I am trying to lose a little bit of weight before I start bulking again towards that 120 class, I want to do it relatively slowly and just drop some nice weight, feel healthy in myself before I start going back up again. I don't want to just like start at a point where I already feel quite fat and just add more weight to that. So I want to kind of get myself into decent shape before bulking again, if that makes any sense. That's what's happening in my head anyway, so I don't actually know if that's the right thing to do, but that's what I'm doing. Right, let's give this a little taste and then we can talk about what my goals are for the year. Oh wow. Whoa. You've done it again. Alright then, goals for the upcoming year. Although it is still November, it's not the new year yet. The fact that I've just competed, I almost see this next 365 days as the new year until I start competing again. So yeah, powerlifting, my goals obviously haven't really changed. I want to qualify for the British Championships. In order to do that, I need to qualify, and to qualify, I need a 700 kilo total. But unlike last year where I put a lot of time and effort and pretty much obsessed over the 700 kilos, I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to take every gym session as it comes and work as hard as I can, and then hopefully that is enough to then get the qualifying total to then compete in the British Championships. So the idea is to potentially compete in 6 months' time. And that should give me enough time to train and hopefully build up enough strength to get to the 700 kilo total. Obviously the big goal is not to get injured, so it's to be very sensible with my training and approach it in a way where I'm not going to be injuring myself a week before I go and compete. So hopefully that is the goal, to reach that 700 kilo total again, and then later, well, it'll be next year, compete in the British Championship. It'll be sometime late in 2024 now, so obviously I will have over a year to actually train for that. So that's the goal in terms of powerlifting. Obviously the other goal is to be as healthy as possible, and that's kind of that's kind of related to diet as well, because I do feel that if I can get on top of my diet and just my general recovery, that's obviously going to help with preventing injuries, because that has been something that's really plagued me this last year. It's been very frustrating having sort of setback after setback with injuries. So that's something I need to get on top of with recovery as well, and I think nutrition is a big part of that. And my other goal is actually to visit more gyms. So before COVID hit, I actually came up with the idea of doing something called the Gym Jaunts series. Which is basically me travelling around to different gyms up and down the country, but obviously COVID sort of put a stop to that, so the idea sort of went under a little bit. But I've been talking to Tom in the gym recently, and he mentioned that he had a similar idea of wanting to go to different gyms and potentially find some cold water spots as well while we go and do that. And just sort of, go and film it, review it, see what equipment they've got, and just generally have like a weekend away every couple of weeks or once a month or something, just to visit different gyms. And yeah, it's something that I really wanted to do, and I think this year, well, from now on, I really want to be doing that and actually spend a bit of time doing that. Obviously I've got a lot of commitments at the moment with my placement and just work and everything, but it's still something that I want to do, and I don't want to not do it for the sake of having to work and things like that. I want to still enjoy things that I want to do. So that's one of my goals really, is just to get out and explore more gyms, because I am a bit of a gym geek and a bit of a powerlifting geek, and I like sort of trying different equipment and that sort of thing. So that is a goal of mine, as well as obviously the powerlifting side of things. It's the ultimate goal just to compete in the British Championships again. And for my final meal of the day, nice and easy, 2 scoops of whey protein. So once I finish this will put me on around about 2,500 calories for the day. It's now about 10 o'clock at night, so I need to go and get some sleep, because obviously I'm up nice and early for my placement tomorrow. But this puts me in a deficit, a very slight deficit. Obviously that is the aim at the moment, as I mentioned, to just lose a little bit of weight before we sort of really start ramping up the training, and then I can start thinking about putting on more size to get closer to that 120 class. But I think for now the aim obviously is just to drop a little bit of weight, like I said, just because I want to feel a little bit healthier. So yeah, pretty much bang on the calories today. And that concludes the full day of eating. Ooh. Welcome to Sunday morning. As you can probably tell, I've just woken up. I've just been doing some editing and realised I hadn't actually properly signed out today's video, so that's what I'm going to do now. But just to say that tomorrow is Monday, which means it's the start of the new training block, and I am really excited to be starting that now. First week of placement has been done, it's complete, and it went really well, and I'm feeling pretty optimistic that I'm going to be able to get through it over the next 4 weeks relatively stress-free, because I am really enjoying working with that team. So yeah, just very optimistic now going forward. Looking forward to tomorrow. Tomorrow is deadlifts. It's good to get back into some deadlifts. Excuse me. Obviously did some deadlifts last week, but that was just mucking around in the gym, so it'd be nice to get back into some proper structure and start building again. So yeah, I'm gonna sign out the video here, guys. Hope you have enjoyed it. Bit of a different one, no training footage unfortunately, because obviously I haven't been training, so I haven't been able to show you that, but I hope you've enjoyed it anyway. So please leave the video a like if you have enjoyed it, subscribe if you're new, and I'll see you in the next one. Take care, peace.